social protection and insecurity, mental health services, as we are going to be speaking about mental health. And I would like to call people and congratulate CGE for being in partnership with everybody who's going to speak today, and that we are celebrating Mental Health Month. Women and girls with disabilities are subjected to increasing forms of discrimination related to sexual, reproductive health, gender-based violence, and inequality, and a lot of discrimination and bad treatment. Gender disability and structures inequalities, which are characterized by societal before the crisis, are being exacerbated by multi-centered impact on the COVID-19. The pandemic has taken a lot of strain from women and girls with disabilities, and their mental health has been taken into consideration. That is why as CGE today, we're looking forward to say lack of gender and disability disaggregated data makes it difficult to clearly get the evidence-based analysis of societal, economical impact on the COVID-19 crisis. Among those who are with disabilities, which I'm one of them, women and girls face systematic barriers to equality and inclusion, with limited visibility in disability and gender equality laws. The policies in South Africa are there, but I think this is time now, as CGE is looking forward to action. I wish to welcome you with these few words, and we've got 4 participants. Each participant is going to be engaging us within 15 minutes, and we've got Lynn Norton, Benny Padima, May Mafume, and my colleague, Dr. Mufukeng. So we will take each person in that order, and we will give Dr. Norton 15 minutes. Please, Doctor, you are the first, and we will enjoy part of your presentation will be a caption where you are going to show us a video. Ladies and gentlemen, you will be engaging us in the chat box, and we think we are going to engage in this webinar, and let's enjoy it. Thank you.
Many thanks, Commissioner, and greetings to everyone. Thanks for having me here today. It's really fantastic to hear that there's such a focus on mental health, which often takes a back door. And thanks also for accommodating my time constraints and letting me speak first. I'm going to just share my screen now and go through a PowerPoint and also show a brief video. So please just let me know if it's working or if it doesn't work at any stage and you need to do something differently. I'm sorry, it doesn't seem to be. On when I was doing the test just now.
You know what, Dr. Norton, I would suggest maybe you send your video to our IT specialist, Case, and as you're talking to Jabu, and then as soon as we can have it shown on the screen, but can I allow you to start in the meantime?
Yes, sorry, can I be one? Sorry, it was on here when I did the test as soon as I actually got on, but I can also just start. Can I just try 1 minute, if you don't mind? I'm not sure why it hasn't. It's not. Even in the tests, it was working. I'm sorry, I have no idea why it's now not here. I think then maybe what I must do is just talk through the presentation and see if we can show the video later. Maybe while the next speaker is talking, I can then just send the video through. So just to give you an idea of who I am, and it is a pity because I just had really nice slides on that, but the South African Depression and Anxiety Group has been around since 1994. We are an NGO. The head office is based in Joburg. I'm the coordinator from the KZN office. We run a number of services, and I think the key service, although we call the South African Depression and Anxiety Group, we focus very much on mental health generally, all mental illnesses, and also an awareness and advocacy around mental health. So our services include, and especially I think one of the really key services is our support helplines, which are 24-hour helplines. They're a completely free service. If anyone is phoning or has distress at any time of night, they can phone our support numbers and get hold of a counsellor at the end of the line and find someone to talk to. We also do a lot of psychoeducation. We do free community forum talks. We have a newsletter, both national and local here in KZN, and we do advocacy work, we do media engagement, and really kind of the range on focusing and trying to bring mental health issues to the fore. In SADC here, we started with the Mental Health Advocacy Group in 2015. Our two directors, who are a psychiatrist and a psychologist, just saw a gap here in KZN and then engaged with SADC, and we opened a SADC branch here in 2018, which I then coordinate. So we also here have quite specific on the ground projects, including community forum talks. We have focused programs on youth and schools, some of them which unfortunately have been interrupted while we during lockdown. We also do mental health on campuses. But one of our really key focuses is to run mental health support groups. These groups are normally in person. During COVID, we've been running WhatsApp support groups, Zoom support groups, various ways of trying to still get hold of people and enable people to be in contact because of the extreme impact that COVID has had on mental health. So we do free training to start up support groups. Most of our support groups are run by non-specialists, and we feel it's like really important because there's such a huge treatment gap and gap for people being able to get hold of psychiatrists and psychologists, and so we do training for people who have passion around mental illness issues, may have experienced, for example, depression or anxiety themselves and want to set up a group, and we then support them through running community support group leader forums and various ways of supervising to enable them to help others as well too. And I think the advantage of support groups lies in quite a few things as well, apart from the gap and the need, and the recognition that we need task shifting in public health. But there are quite easy interventions to run. They're less stigmatizing sometimes than when people one-on-one modalities as well. And they also enable advocacy and activism to spread through small groups, allowing people to share their stories, build a common identity, create a non-judgmental space. There's still a lot of stigma around. Unfortunately, the video I can't get up addresses those issues of stigma and depression and how it is often seen in culture, in various cultures, and how often people find that they cannot speak to even family members or their friends about what is happening in terms of mental health. So providing spaces where people can come together and create networks of support for each other. So we have various types of groups. We don't restrict the nature of the group, depression and anxiety, perinatal depression. We work very closely with a mum support group, social anxiety. We have developed a care project, caring for the elderly in environmental residences during the COVID period. LGBTQI, caregivers. We work with a refugee group as well. And we also work very closely with solos, who are survivors of loved ones of suicide. Unfortunately, there's been huge numbers of distress calls around suicide, especially in this period. And we run a support group for loved ones, people who have lost loved ones to suicide, through the solos groups. And so I think it's been really clear that mental health for us, of course, is always a very focal issue. But during the pandemic, especially, it has been highlighted, and a lot of people are warning of a second wave of crisis facing the country, which is the psychological impact of COVID, which could be longer and much more devastating than what we've experienced so far as well. The increased pressures and stresses on everyone. Social distancing has been making people extremely lonely and isolated. And with mental health, it's very, very important you get the isolation around mental health to feel connected to people. So it has consequences on both the physical and mental health. Increased use of substances. Extreme consequences, of course, include GBV and suicide. And we can see, we've really just seen quite visibly the impact that lockdown has had. And if you look at the calls to our SADAG helplines, they've more than doubled since lockdown. So the number of calls during February, for example, were around 15,000 calls to the helpline. And then in June, this number had risen to 47,000 calls to the helpline. So an enormous amount of mental health impact. So we really feel it's very critical to have a better understanding around mental health, to talk about it, to decrease the stigma around it, and to enable conversation. So it was really fantastic that this is a focal point of your webinar today. I do have, and I was going to share on screen as well, all our helpline numbers and contact numbers. You can contact a helpline through WhatsApp, through SMS, on FaceTime. Our SADAG website has a huge wealth of information on mental health and mental health issues as well. So I'm happy to maybe email those or share those numbers with anyone who's interested, and share my contact details as well for anyone who is wanting to get onto our contact list to receive news about our events, our activities, our free talks. And just to cover two final aspects, as you said, it's Mental Health Month. 10th of October is World Mental Health Awareness Day. We are doing a virtual walk, and we would love people to join in on that. The whole idea around that is to create awareness and spread the word on social media, open conversations around mental health. And the other project that I would just like to mention is that we've recently received funding through GenderLinks and the Women's Voice and Leadership Canada grant, and to start a gender and mental health initiative here in KZN, and to look specifically at, I think, as you were saying, Commissioner, a very neglected area, that intersection between gender and mental health. So we'll be starting with quite a thorough needs analysis around what is the current situation, where are the gaps, what do we need, and then we've got some quite ideas around providing more support in these areas and